Welcome to the channel Error Coins Hub. What if I told you that a simple 5-cent coin from 2003, something you might have tossed into a parking meter or handed to a cashier without a second thought, could actually be worth $6 million? That's right, 6 million. Not 600, not 6,000, but $6 million for a coin that was minted just over 2 decades ago. A coin that looks almost identical to every other nickel you've ever held in your hand. But this one, this incredibly rare specimen, carries a secret so valuable that collectors around the world would empty their bank accounts just for the chance to own it. Now, before we dive deep into what makes this 2003 5-cent piece so extraordinarily valuable, I need you to understand something crucial. This isn't the only million-dollar nickel we're talking about today, because after we uncover every shocking detail about this 2003 treasure, we're going to explore another nickel from 2006 that's worth $3 million, and trust me, the story behind that one will blow your mind even more than this first coin. But I'm not going to reveal what makes it so special just yet. You'll have to stick around to find out. So let's get into the fascinating world of the 2003 5-cent. The 2003 Jefferson nickel was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, and in that year alone, the mint produced hundreds of millions of these coins, sending them out into circulation where they would be used in everyday transactions across America. Most of them were absolutely normal, worth exactly 5 cents, nothing more, nothing less, but here's where things get absolutely insane. During the minting process at the Philadelphia facility, something went catastrophically wrong, and I mean wrong in the best possible way for collectors. You see, the U.S. Mint operates with incredibly strict quality control measures. Every coin is supposed to be inspected. Every die is supposed to be checked and replaced when it shows wear. Every step of the process is supposed to be monitored. But even with all these safeguards in place, mistakes happen, and when they do, when a coin slips through with a major error, it becomes worth exponentially more than its face value. Sometimes thousands of times more, sometimes millions of times more. The 2003 5-cent error we're talking about is what's known in the numismatic community as a double denomination error, and this is where your jaw should be hitting the floor because this is one of the rarest types of mint errors that can possibly occur. What happened was this: a blank planchet intended for a Jefferson nickel somehow made its way into the press area designated for another denomination. And when the dies came down, they struck this nickel planchet with the design intended for a different coin entirely. Can you imagine the chaos in the mint that day? Someone wasn't paying attention, quality control missed it, and this freak accident of numismatic history was born, creating a coin that is simultaneously 2 different denominations at once, a coin that should never have existed according to every rule in the U.S. Mint Handbook. Now, you might be wondering, how does something like this even happen in a modern, highly automated facility? Well, let me paint you a picture of the minting process because understanding how these errors occur makes them even more fascinating and helps you appreciate why collectors go absolutely crazy for them. The process begins with blank metal discs called planchets. These are sorted by size and weight and then fed into massive coining presses. Each press is set up for a specific denomination with specific dies that will strike the design onto both sides of the coin. Under normal circumstances, a nickel planchet only ever encounters nickel dies, a quarter planchet only meets quarter dies, and so on. But in rare instances, extremely rare instances, a planchet from one denomination gets mixed in with planchets from another denomination. Maybe it bounced out of its designated bin. Maybe a worker accidentally mixed batches during maintenance. Maybe there was a mechanical malfunction. Whatever the reason, when that wrong planchet meets those dies, boom, you've got yourself a mint error that could be worth a fortune. And remember, this isn't just any error. This is a major error, a significant error, the kind of error that makes headlines in numismatic journals and sends auction houses into a frenzy. The 2003 5-cent double denomination error is so rare that only a handful of examples are known to exist. We're talking maybe 5, maybe 10 specimens in the entire world, and each one that comes to market creates a bidding war unlike anything you've ever seen. collectors with deep pockets, museums looking to expand their error coin collections, investors who understand that rare coins like this only appreciate in value over time. They all come together in heated competition, driving the price higher and higher and higher until someone finally wins. But at what cost? The record for a 2003 P5-cent double denomination error sold at auction stands at an absolutely mind-blowing $6 million. $6 million for a coin that cost 5 cents to make. Now, before you run to your piggy bank or start digging through your couch cushions, let me remind you about that second coin I mentioned earlier, the 2006 P5-cent worth $3 million. And I promise you the circumstances surrounding that discovery are even more dramatic, even more unbelievable, but we'll get to that in just a moment. First, let's make absolutely sure you know how to identify this 2003 P treasure, because what good is all this knowledge if you can't spot the real deal when it's sitting right in front of you? The key identifiers for the 2003 P5-cent double denomination error are very specific. You need to look at both sides of the coin very carefully. On one side, you'll see the familiar profile of Thomas Jefferson, the design that has graced the nickel for decades. But here's the kicker: on the other side, instead of seeing Monticello, Jefferson's famous home in Virginia, you might see the design from a completely different denomination. The most famous example shows the reverse design of a Sacagawea dollar struck onto a nickel planchet. Imagine that, a tiny 5-cent planchet trying to display the design meant for a much larger dollar coin. The design is cramped, portions of it are missing because the planchet is too small, and the whole thing looks absolutely bizarre. But that bizarre appearance is exactly what makes it authentic, exactly what makes it worth millions, because this isn't something that can be faked easily. This isn't a coin that counterfeiters can reproduce in their basement. This is a genuine mint error that occurred under highly specific circumstances that can be verified by experts. And speaking of experts, if you think you might have one of these coins, do not, I repeat, do not try to clean it or handle it excessively. The value of rare coins can be significantly diminished by improper handling. You want to keep it in its original condition. Get it authenticated by a reputable third-party grading service like PCGS or NGC. Have them verify that it's genuine and assign it a grade based on its condition. And then you can think about what to do with it, whether you want to keep it as an investment, sell it at auction, or pass it down as a family heirloom worth millions. The story of the 2003 P5-cent doesn't end with just the double denomination error, though. There are other variations and errors from that year that are also valuable, though not quite in the same stratospheric price range. For example, some 2003 P nickels were struck on wrong planchet stock, meaning they were struck on planchets intended for dimes or even foreign coins. These wrong planchet errors can sell for anywhere from $10,000 to $100,000 depending on the specific circumstances and the condition of the coin. There are also examples with die cracks, die breaks, and OFF center strikes, all of which add value beyond the face value of 5 cents. A spectacular off-center strike where 50% or more of the design is missing can easily fetch $500 to $5,000 in the collector market. And if you find one that's struck 90% off-center, meaning just a tiny sliver of the design is visible, you could be looking at even more money. But let's bring this back to the main event. The $6 million specimen that has captured the imagination of collectors worldwide. When this coin first appeared at auction, the numismatic community was buzzing. Word spread like wildfire through coin clubs, online forums, and collector networks. Everyone wanted to know where it came from, who found it, how it had survived all these years. The story, as it was eventually pieced together, is almost unbelievable. The coin was apparently discovered by a casual collector who was going through a large bag of nickels that he had accumulated over years of saving his change. He wasn't even looking for errors specifically, he was just killing time one afternoon, sorting through coins, when he noticed something didn't look quite right about one particular 2003 P nickel. The reverse design looked wrong, it looked cramped, and upon closer inspection, he realized he was looking at a Sacagawea dollar design on a nickel-sized planchet. His hands were shaking as he realized what he had found. He immediately placed the coin in a protective holder and started researching. And when he discovered just how rare and valuable this type of error was, he could barely believe his luck. He had it authenticated. It came back genuine, graded M65, meaning it was in gem uncirculated condition with minimal marks or imperfections, and when it went to auction, the final hammer price was $6 million, transforming this ordinary person's life in an instant. And here's something that should keep you up at night. That coin was just sitting in a bag of ordinary nickels. It had been in circulation, it had been handled, it had probably been in dozens of cash registers and hundreds of pockets before finally landing in that collector's hands, which means there could be more of these out there, waiting to be discovered, sitting in your change jar, mixed in with your laundry quarters, hiding in plain sight. This is why I keep telling people to check your coins. Take the time to actually look at what you're spending, because 5 minutes of examination could literally make you a millionaire. Now, the 2003 P5 cent also has historical significance beyond just the error varieties. This was minted during a transitional period for the Jefferson Nickels series. The U.S. Mint was preparing to release the Westward Journey nickel series, which would debut in 2004 and 2005 with new reverse designs commemorating the Lewis and Clark expedition. So the 2003 coins represent the last year of the traditional Monticello reverse before the temporary design changes. And then in 2006, which brings us to our next coin, a whole new chapter would begin. But before we get there, I want to make sure you understand the grading and condition factors that affect the value of these error coins, because a 2003 P5 cent double denomination error in poor condition, heavily worn and damaged, might only be worth $100,000 to $500,000, still life-changing money, but nowhere near the $6 million record. To achieve maximum value, the coin needs to be in uncirculated condition, meaning it never actually circulated. It went directly from the mint into someone's collection. Nowhere on the high points of the design. No scratches, no discoloration, just pristine surfaces that look like the coin was struck yesterday. Professional grading services use a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being absolutely perfect. The $6 million example was graded MS65, which is considered gem uncirculated. If an MS67 or MS68 example were to surface, you can bet it would shatter all previous auction records. We could be talking 8 million, 10 million, maybe even more, because at that level of rarity and condition, the sky is truly the limit. The 2003 P5 cent has also appeared in major numismatic publications and documentaries. Coin experts have studied these error pieces extensively, using microscopes and specialized equipment to understand exactly how the error occurred. Some theories suggest that during a die change or maintenance period, planchets from different denominations were temporarily stored in the same area and got mixed. Others believe there may have been a mechanical malfunction that caused the wrong dies to align. With the wrong planchet feeder, whatever the cause, the result is a coin that is supremely rare, supremely valuable, and supremely sought after by collectors who understand that they may never see another example in their lifetime. And I cannot stress this enough. If you're someone who saves coins, if you have jars or bags or boxes of change sitting around your house, please take the time to go through them. You're looking for anything that seems OFF, anything where the design doesn't look quite right, where the size seems wrong for the design shown, where there are multiple strikes or strange doubling. These are the clues that you might be holding something extraordinary. And with the 2003 P5 cent, you're specifically looking for that telltale sign of a different denomination's design trying to fit onto a nickel-sized planchet. But wait, we're not done yet, because I promised you a second coin, and this one is going to amaze you. The 2006 P5 cent worth $3 million has its own incredible backstory, its own unique error characteristics, and its own legion of collectors desperately trying to find an example. So stick with me, because what you're about to learn next could be the information that changes your financial future forever. You're going to discover what makes that 2006 nickel so special, why it commands such an astronomical price and how you might be able to find one. So don't go anywhere. The most exciting part of this journey is still ahead. Last 2006 P5 cent, and if you thought the 2003 double denomination error was shocking, wait until you hear about this coin, because the 2006 P5 cent that sold for $3 million represents one of the most spectacular minting mistakes in modern numismatic history. A mistake so obvious and yet so rare that when the first example was discovered, experts initially thought it had to be a fake. There was simply no way the US Mint could have made such a glaring error, and yet, after extensive testing and authentication, it was confirmed to be 100% genuine. A real mint error that somehow slipped through every quality control checkpoint and made it into circulation where it could have been spent for exactly 5 cents. So what makes this 2006 P5 cent worth $3 million? The answer lies in a wrong planchet error of epic proportions combined with a transitional design that should never have existed on the same coin. You see, 2006 was a significant year for the Jefferson nickel because the US Mint was bringing back the traditional Monticello reverse design after the 2-year Westward Journey series that ran from 2004 to 2005. They also introduced a new obverse portrait of Jefferson, a more contemporary, forward-facing design that was quite different from the profile that had been used for decades. So 2006 was supposed to feature this new Jefferson portrait on the obverse and the traditional Monticello on the reverse. That was the plan, that was what was supposed to happen. But as we all know, when you're dealing with billions of coins being produced across multiple mint facilities, sometimes things go catastrophically wrong. What happened with this particular 2006 P5 cent error is that a planchet intended for a nickel was somehow struck with dies that were never supposed to be used together. One die was from the old Jefferson profile design that had been discontinued, and the other die was from the new 2006 Monticello reverse, creating a mule error, and in the coin collecting world, mules are among the most valuable errors you can possibly find. A mule is when two dies that were never intended to be paired together are used to strike a single coin, and this creates a piece that is immediately recognizable as wrong to anyone who knows what they're looking at. The 2006 P5 cent mule shows the old Jefferson profile on the obverse, the one that was supposed to be retired after 2003 before the Westward Journey series began, paired with the 2006 dated Monticello reverse. And this combination should not exist. It's a numismatic impossibility, and yet here it is, real, authenticated, and worth millions. When the first example of this error was found, it created absolute pandemonium in the collecting community. The finder was a professional coin dealer who was going through a customer's collection, doing appraisals and helping them understand what they had. And when he came across this 2006 P nickel, something immediately struck him as odd. He looked closer, compared it to reference materials, and felt his heart start racing because he knew he was looking at something that could make headlines. He contacted colleagues, sent photos to grading services, and within days, the coin world was buzzing with the news that a 2006 P. Jefferson nickel mule had been discovered. The coin was submitted to PCGS for authentication and grading, and after extensive examination including microscopic analysis, dye marker verification, and metallurgical testing, they confirmed it was genuine and assigned it a grade of MS66, meaning it was in premium gem uncirculated condition with exceptional eye appeal and minimal marks. When it went to auction, bidding was fierce. Collectors understood that they might never see another example, that this could be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to own one of the most significant modern mint errors, and when the hammer finally fell, the price was $3 million. But here's what makes this even more interesting. After the first example sold, people started searching. Coin dealers began going through their inventory with magnifying glasses. Collectors dug through their accumulations of 2006 nickels, and slowly, a few more examples started to surface. Not many, maybe 3 or 4 additional specimens, and each one that appeared at auction commanded prices ranging from $1.5 million to $2.8 million depending on the grade and eye appeal. But the original MS 66 example remains the record holder at $3 million. So how do you identify this error if you're searching through your own coins? You need to know what both the old and new Jefferson portraits look like. The old design shows Jefferson in left-facing profile. It's the classic design that most people associate with the Jefferson nickel. It's been around for decades, and it's what you'll see on any nickel dated 2003 or earlier, except for the special Westward Journey designs from 2004 to 2005. The new design introduced in 2006 shows Jefferson in a more contemporary, forward-facing portrait. It's quite different and easy to distinguish once you know what you're looking for. So if you find a 2006 P nickel that shows the old left-facing profile instead of the new forward-facing portrait, but it has the Monticello reverse with a 2006 date, stop everything. Put that coin in a protective holder immediately, because you might be holding $3 million in your hand. The 2006 P5-cent mule error occurred because of what we believe was a die mixing incident at the Philadelphia Mint. During the transition from the old design to the new design, dies from both generations were present in the facility. Old dies that should have been destroyed or removed from service were somehow still in the die storage area, and during setup for a production run, an old obverse die was paired with a new 2006 dated reverse die. Nobody noticed. The quality control inspectors missed it, and thousands, possibly tens of thousands of these mule nickels were struck before someone finally caught the error and shut down the press. Most of those error coins were probably caught during the inspection process that happens after striking. They would have been pulled from production and destroyed, melted down and returned to the planchet production process. But a small number escaped, maybe a few dozen, maybe a few hundred, we don't know for sure, and those escapees made it into circulation where they were mixed in with millions of normal 2006 P nickels and shipped to Federal Reserve banks all across the country. From there, they went to commercial banks, then into cash registers, then into people's pockets and purses and change jars. And this is why I keep emphasizing that you need to check your coins, because one of these $3 million nickels could be sitting in your car's cup holder right now. It could be in your kid's piggy bank. It could be in that jar of change you've been meaning to roll and take to the bank for the past 3 years. It's out there, waiting to be discovered, and when you find it, your life will never be the same. The 2006 P5-cent mule has been featured in major coin publications including Coin World, Numismatic News, and The Numismatist. Error coin experts like Mike Byers and Fred Weinberg have examined examples and confirmed their authenticity, and major auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers have handled the sale of these pieces, generating enormous publicity each time one comes to market, because these aren't just coins, they're treasures, they're pieces of history, they're tangible proof that even in our modern, highly automated world, spectacular mistakes can still happen. The discovery of the 2006 P-Mule also led to increased scrutiny of other 2006 nickels, and collectors found several other valuable varieties from that year, including spectacular die crack errors where the die developed a crack during use and this crack transferred to the coins as a raised line across the design. Some of these die crack errors are quite dramatic, with cracks running across Jefferson's face or bisecting Monticello, and while they're not worth millions like the mule error, they can still sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on the size and placement of the crack. There are also 2006 P nickels with broadstrike errors, where the coin was struck outside of the collar that normally contains the metal and gives the coin its reeded or smooth edge. A broadstrike nickel is larger in diameter than normal, has no edge definition, and looks somewhat like a pancake. These can be worth $200 to $2,000 depending on how dramatic the broadstrike is and the overall condition of the coin. And then there are OFF center strikes from 2006, where the planchet wasn't properly centered between the dies when it was struck, resulting in part of the design being off the planchet entirely, a 50% off-center 2006 Nickel can be worth $500 to $3,000. And if you find one that's 75% or more off-center, you're looking at even higher values. But nothing, and I mean nothing, compares to the value and excitement of the 2006 mule error, because that's the coin that collectors dream about finding. That's the coin that could take you from working a 9-to-5 job to retiring in luxury. That's the coin that represents the ultimate treasure hunt, where your treasure is hiding in plain sight, disguised as ordinary pocket change. And here's something else to consider. The 2006 5-cent mule is a coin that will appreciate in value over time, as more and more examples get certified and locked away in collections. The number of examples available on the market will decrease, and as demand from collectors and investors continues to grow, the prices will increase. So if you find one today and it's only worth $3 million, give it 10 or 15 years and it could be worth $5 million, $8 million, maybe even $10 million. The numismatic market has shown us time and time again that truly rare coins, especially modern mint errors that are well documented and highly sought after, consistently appreciate in value. Look at the 1943 copper penny. It was worth maybe $10,000 in the 1950s. Today examples sell for over $1 million. Look at the 1974 aluminum penny. Only a handful are known, and they're essentially priceless. Look at the 2000 Sacagawea dollar with the Cheerios reverse. It was worth a few $100s when first discovered. Now they sell for $10,000 to $30,000. The pattern is clear. Rarity plus demand equals increasing value. So what should you do if you think you might have found a 2006 5-cent mule or any other valuable error coin? First, do not clean it. I cannot stress this enough. Cleaning a coin can reduce its value by 50% or more. Even if you think you're being gentle, even if you're just trying to make it look nicer, don't do it. Collectors and grading services want to see the coin in its original, unaltered state. Second, handle it carefully, preferably by the edges only, and place it in a protective holder. You can buy coin flips, which are small plastic holders designed specifically for coin storage, at any hobby shop or online. Third, get it professionally authenticated and graded by either PCGS or NGC. These are the two most respected third-party grading services in the numismatic world. They will examine your coin, verify its authenticity, assign it a numerical grade based on its condition, and seal it in a tamper-evident holder with a unique certification number. Once you have your coin authenticated and graded, you have several options for what to do with it. You can keep it as an investment, knowing that its value is likely to appreciate over time. You can sell it at auction through a major auction house where it will be exposed to thousands of potential buyers worldwide, maximizing the price you receive. You can sell it privately to a dealer or collector, which might be faster but could result in a lower price, or you can hold on to it and pass it down to your children or grandchildren as a family heirloom that could provide financial security for future generations. The 2006 5-cent mule represents everything that's exciting about coin collecting: the thrill of the hunt, the possibility of life-changing discoveries, the connection to history, and the pure, undeniable excitement of holding something in your hand that's worth millions of dollars. And the best part is that you don't need to be a professional coin dealer or a wealthy collector to find one. You don't need any special equipment or training. All you need is the knowledge of what to look for, the patience to actually examine your coins carefully, and a little bit of luck. In the world of error coins and rare numismatics, fortunes are found by ordinary people who take the time to look, who don't just mindlessly spend their change without a second thought, who understand that a 5-cent coin could be worth $3 million if it has the right characteristics. And now you have that knowledge. You know what the 2003 double denomination error looks like. You know what the 2006 mule error looks like. You know what to do if you find one, and you're armed with the information you need to potentially change your life. So here's my challenge to you. After you finish watching this video, don't just close it and move on with your day. Actually go and check your coins, dig through your change jar, go through your penny rolls, Examine every single 2003 and 2006 nickel you can find. Look at them carefully. Compare them to online references, and who knows, maybe you will be the next person to discover a multi-million-dollar mint error. Maybe your name will be the one making headlines in numismatic publications. Maybe your coin will be the one setting a new auction record. The 2003 P5 cent worth $6 million and the 2006 P5 cent worth $3 million prove that modern coins can be just as valuable, just as rare, and just as exciting as classic coins from 100 years ago. They prove that the treasure hunt is real, that fortunes are waiting to be found, and that anyone, regardless of their background or experience, can make a discovery that changes everything. Thank you so much for sticking with me through this incredible journey into the world of rare and valuable nickels. I hope you've learned something amazing today. I hope you're feeling inspired to check your own coins, and I hope that maybe, just maybe, one of you will be the lucky person who finds that next million-dollar error. Remember to subscribe to Error Coins Hub for more incredible coin content. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a video, and leave a comment below telling me if you've ever found an error coin or if you're going to start searching your change after watching this. I love hearing from you, and your stories motivate me to keep creating content that helps people understand the incredible world of numismatics. Happy hunting, stay curious, keep searching, and remember, that next coin you pull out of your pocket could be the one that makes you a millionaire.